Hi, hello. So this video is to talk you through participation. So if you're interested in participating in the research or you're considering participating in my research, which is looking at the experiences of people who are 65 and over who were sexually abused as children, and particularly thinking about their life stories and life experiences, then this is for you. So before you sign up to the interviews, we will have a chat first of all, an informal chat where you can ask me any questions that you have about the research, and then I do have some structured questions that I will ask to help you decide if it's the right time for you to participate. So it might be that if this is the first time that you are talking to anybody about what happened and you're at a point in your life where you're feeling particularly distressed, then it might not be the right time, and it might be that accessing some more formal support, potentially some counselling, might be the right option for now. So we'll think about that together. Then, if you do decide to participate, then we'll start to think about those three interviews. So there is a task around the three interviews that I'll tell you about in a moment, but the interviews can take place in person or they can take place on Microsoft Teams. This may be influenced by where you live, so you're invited to participate if you live in England, but I'm only able to reimburse travel costs for an in-person interview within a 30-mile radius of Leeds city centre, and that's because of the budget that I have. So originally the study was only going to focus on a smaller area, but we've decided to expand that area. So if you live locally to Leeds, you might decide you want to participate in person, and we can talk about where we will carry out the interviews in the informal chat. It might be that you live further afield and that you still want to come for an informal interview, which would happen within that 30-mile radius of Leeds city centre, and that's absolutely fine. It's just that we wouldn't be able to reimburse those travel costs only in that last 30-mile radius. So for example, if you were driving, then I could reimburse those last 30 miles. Otherwise, you can participate using Microsoft Teams, and this can be a great option. It means that it's easier to be involved. It might also mean that you feel safer in your own home. So some people prefer video interviewing because it means that you can be close to your home comforts. Then I allow a couple of hours for each interview. We don't necessarily need to use all the 2 hours, but what this allows us to do is to pause, to take breaks. So it's better to have the space around it than it to feel rushed. So the task that I referred to is I will ask or invite you to create a timeline or a life map, which puts in order, in an order that makes sense to you, the important experiences or the significant experiences from your life. And you can do that you can write a timeline, you can use objects to represent different experiences, you can use photographs. There isn't really a right way to do it. It will be a bit different depending on if we do this together or if you do it beforehand on your own. If we do it together on Microsoft Teams versus in person, that's going to be different again, but we can talk about how we will do that. And the idea of creating the life story or life map is to help you tell your story, so that's the purpose of it. In terms of the questions that I will ask during the interview, I don't have a set number of questions or structured questions to ask, so my questions are very much guided by you. So you'll be telling me your story, and I might ask some follow-up questions and some prompts and that kind of thing. But there is no requirement to to share anything that you don't want to share. In terms of talking about the abuse, again, there's no requirement to talk about the abuse. It can be helpful for me to understand when the abuse happened within your timeline, but it's up to you in terms of how much you want to share about what happened. In my research, I'm really interested in the influence of the abuse rather than the abuse itself. So you can certainly choose to share as much or as little as you want about that. So whatever feels right for you. But in terms of the research, as long as I know when it happened, that is enough. So it'll be up to you in terms of what you want to share. Once the interviews are complete, then I will transcribe the interviews. So I'll type up what has been said in the interviews, and then I will analyse those. So what I'll be doing after anonymising the information, so taking out things that identify you, like your name and place names and all those kind of things, which you can talk more about in the informal chat. I'll also be really thinking about how your story changes, how you tell your story, what might have influenced how you view your certain experiences that have happened to you through time, what's influenced those things. And then I'm hoping that I'll be able to use that information to share with professionals and certain services. So it might be sexual violence services, older adult services, mental health services, professionals working in these areas. And I'll probably do that through presentations and through journal articles. And then it's also important to be aware that this research is a part of my PhD thesis that I will be submitting as part of the PhD qualification from Leeds Beckett University. So I hope that is useful. And of course, if you want to get in touch and have an informal chat, then we can certainly do that, and you can ask me any further questions. But I hope that's given you a bit of an idea of what participation might involve.